What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing our reread of the Mercy Thompson series. This episode, we are covering Book 8, Night Broken. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we're going to feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or over on the Book Clubs app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can also find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support the podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now over on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come over onto Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. Joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here, like always.
Of course, I'm glad you're here as well, because today we are doing another installment of our reread, again, of the Mercy Thompson series. Yes, today we are reading Night Broken, Book 8. Very fun.
Woo-hoo.
Yes. So as we do, we're going to do the stats, the synopsis, and jump right on in. So again, we're reading Night Broken by Patricia Briggs, 8th in series, published March 11th, 2014 by Ace and Penguin Audio. The paperback is 900. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
The paper, that is not right. The paperback is 292 pages, and the audiobook is 10 hours and 5 minutes, narrated by Lorelei King. Casey, would you please read the synopsis?
An unexpected phone call heralds a new challenge for Mercy. Her mate, Adam's ex-wife, is in trouble and on the run from a stalker. Adam isn't the kind of man to turn away a person in need, and Mercy knows it. But with Christy holed up in Adam's house, Mercy can't shake the feeling that something about the situation isn't right. Soon her suspicions are confirmed when she learns that Christy has the furthest thing from good intentions. She wants Adam back, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to get him, including turning Adam's pack against Mercy. Mercy isn't about to step down without a fight, but there's a more dangerous threat circling. Christy's stalker is more than just a bad man. In fact, he may not be human at all. As the bodies start piling up, Mercy must put her personal troubles aside to face a creature with the power to tear her whole world apart.
All right. So you guys, I love this installment. It's so one of my favorites. Yeah, it's at the top of my list, I feel like. And I think I just enjoyed cursing out Christy the entire time.
I think every fan of this series enjoys that.
Because I would have skipped right to the end, because
the
when
very
I finished,
end, yes.
Okay, this hoe, I'm gonna call her that. So, Mercy play tricks on people, right? Mm-hmm. She is notorious for it. She will get you. You make her mad, she gonna get you.
Yes.
And so Christy's lame self went and put her stuff in their shower, in Mercy and Adam's shower. And
she
their
put her makeup on the counter. Mercy took the makeup out. She came back and found the shampoo in the shower.
So I'm like, you get what you deserve, Christy.
Yes.
You know you were wrong. So what does she do? She throws a bunch of blue dye in that mug.
Yes.
And she looks like a freaking Smurf, basically. They got most of it off her skin, but her hair is blue, and she's really upset.
And now, the best part...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Mercy is in the hospital at this point because she was fighting Christy's stalker. So literally, Mercy is not around to see or be yelled at about this. She's in the hospital.
Yes.
And so, with all of her stunts with Bran, it almost looks like Mercy didn't do it, except of course it was Mercy. Who else would it be?
Right.
But she has the the excuse of saying, no, I was in the hospital. I couldn't do anything to you.
Right. But she knew it was her, which...
Oh, of course. Everybody knows it's her.
This is what made me mad, though. So it's like literally 2 pages before the end. This hoe, yes, says to her, why don't you just die? She hisses that in her ear. Who the fuck does that? When someone is almost dying, I'm like, there is no way you could wish someone dead over some blue dye.
Well,
Get the F out of here.
It's not just the blue dye. It's the fact that she wants Adam back.
But she doesn't. She just doesn't want her to have him. She doesn't.
No. She sees that Adam is happy without her. She knows that Mercy's not really going to age. She says, I love you to Adam in front of the entire fucking pack. She, moved into the house and started taking over the kitchen and trying to act like she's the alpha wife again. So no,
but she was outed though. She was outed.
Oh, she was. Like, we'll get to that, but she wants Adam back, or she doesn't want Mercy to have him. So she definitely wants Mercy dead. And that's why she's showing her true colors and hissing in the ear.
Was the last straw.
Oh, absolutely.
But how dare you? How dare you? What kind of person are you? And, to say that with wolves around, that they can hear you, you are an idiot.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. She is very stupid. She also lies a few times in front of the wolves, and Mercy even calls her out, and she's like, almost everybody here can smell the lie. We know you're lying. And then she has to cry and, be a victim all over again. And
there was one other point that I was really pissed. I'm like, Mercy is so good because I would have attacked that woman. I feel like in my bones, I wouldn't have been able to hold it together. I would have yelled at her. I would have kicked her out my house. So like the time where there's another point in the book where right before the what's his face comes to her office. What's the guy's name?
Juan Flores is the human name he's going by.
He comes to her shop. And she knows it's him. Like, she knows. She calls Adam and Christy. I'm like, if you answer my husband's phone one more time, I'm going to beat your ass. That's what I would tell her. But instead, she just put Adam on the phone. Of course, Christy, he's not available. Giving her the runaround. And this guy is coming.
He's breaking down the front door. Yes.
Yeah, it's an emergency, and you're playing games. Like, are you trying to get me killed? Oh, I owe you one for that. Seriously.
Yeah. No, Mercy's like, for the love of God, if you do not put Adam on the phone right now, I will throw you out with the trash. And Christy starts crying, going, you don't have the right to yell at me. You're so mean to me.
I'll show you mean. Get him on the phone. I'll show you mean. I swear. Like, this is an emergency. Quit playing around.
And even Honey was like, I would have paid money to film that and have that moment captured on film forever because Adam dressed her down. And for the first time probably ever in their entire relationship, Adam was like, no. Yes. You do not talk to my mate this way. You do not pull this shit. Mercy is in danger. I wanted that scene so badly.
I want to see it because Adam has been too lenient with her. So hearing it secondhand on the page was not good enough. I wanted to see him go in on Christy.
Even after that moment, though, Adam still let Christy beat him up verbally and emotionally. And, you know, she would start spewing bullshit and guilt, and Adam would just shut down and take it. And Mercy was like, the fuck? When we fight, you fight back and you love this. But when she fights at you, you cower. You sit there and you take it and you feel like you deserve all of this extra guilt, which you don't because she's projecting on you.
What a mess. That whole thing is a mess. That relationship is the worst. He never, and this is the thing. And I understand he feels like he wants to protect and help, right? It's in his DNA to want to do that. But after the danger is gone, They are the kind of people that should never speak to each other again.
Never
Because you
again.
know why? Their child is more than old enough to speak with whoever she wants to on her own. They never have to speak to each other ever, and they shouldn't.
But Adam's too nice. He's going to talk to her, and Christy's going to manipulate her way back in. She's going to cry. She's going to make him feel like he needs to come in and rescue her. She's going to lie about everything.
I feel irate.
Oh, I know.
Feel irate. Like, that is why. Okay, now you guys, I know I said what I said, and I meant it, but I'm not an advocate for violence. But if someone like Christy was my husband's ex-wife, I would drag her. I would. We would have a fight.
I need to invite you to my family Thanksgiving because there are people in my family who are like Christy, and I just need to
I feel enraged. And it takes a lot for me to get to that point where I feel like I just want to scream and do something. It takes a lot for me to get there. And I could not deal with that every day of my life.
It's so bad. It's bad.
You better run. Like Christy would see me when she entered the house and run the other way because she would know, don't mess with her because she will come for me.
And I would bring the popcorn. I'd sit there and eat it and laugh and watch and enjoy.
My gosh. I have a line. That's it. I just have a line. Just don't cross the line. I tolerate a lot. I deal with a lot. But don't cross the line.
And Christy is throwing herself over that line by crying and trying to make herself look like a weak victim. And half the pack is eating it up because they believe her for who she is. Ugh.
Yeah, even, Daryl even knows, what she's about. And he comes and asks Mercy if she did something. And Mercy's
like he comes in and starts ripping her up. He's like, how dare you put her on the first level when she has a stalker and you wouldn't let her do this and you wouldn't let her do that. And Mercy's like, excuse me, let me speak here. I was at work. I had nothing to do with this. I thought she'd be comfortable down in this room, but no, now she's in the room next to my bedroom. So...
And you know what I'd be doing? Adam, let's get it on. Loud and rowdy. I'd be screaming and everything. I'd be doing the most. So she would run out of that house.
They had a couple times where they were doing it, and I was like, Mercy, how loud are you getting today? Like, how?
Oh, I'd be loud. Yes. I don't care.
Especially when she was in the bedroom next door. Oh, yeah, I'd be screaming and moaning and just putting on the performance of a lifetime. Adam would probably laugh, but you know what?
He'll go along because I said so. I would make her so uncomfortable. Like, you want to invade my space, I'll make you very uncomfortable in it. But with that, after she tells Daryl, he's like, oh my gosh. He kind of instantly knows. I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry.
It's like, I knew she did this. But even knowing I forgot how she did it, and his mate is, 100% Team Christy. She believes everything out of Christy's mouth. She believes that Christy is the golden girl, golden child, the victim. So Daryl, hears his mate talking to Christy. She gets all up in arms because she believes Christy has been being beaten down by the evil Mercy. So she yells at Daryl, and then Daryl yells at Mercy, and Mercy's like, excuse you. No.
Yeah.
And then Daryl's like, oh, shit.
Exactly.
The manipulations.
It's wild. And even throughout this book, Mercy loses weight because she doesn't want to eat her food.
Yeah. If you have heightened senses and you hate Christy and the food you're eating smells like Christy. At one point.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
The salad tasted like Christy because she washed it with her hands. And I was like...
I wouldn't eat it either. But you know what I would do? I would go order my food and eat it right there at the table with a shirt that said, call me petty. Okay?
I love
I'm going to eat this food right here. I am that person. I'm like, I cannot swallow. I will not.
I love you. This is
I mean, I don't have a problem. This is my house. You can call me petty, but guess who's leaving? You.
Yes. I mean, yes. No, Mercy needed to go eat, fast food, burgers. She thought about getting it one time and then just didn't. I was like, Mercy, just go eat food. Like, you need food. Stop torturing yourself.
Yeah, it's lose-lose. She even says something like, well, if she notices I'm losing weight, she'll probably be satisfied and happy about that too, which is true.
So on your way to work, on your way home, like, eat other food. Don't eat Christy's food. Adam's rich. He can afford you to go buy 6 burgers a time,
Exactly. And he will probably be happy for it because he knows you're taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
And the funny thing, all my hysteria that I'd be going through and doing to her, Adam would be like, oh, well, he would not even say anything to Mercy if she did some of this stuff.
Absolutely not. He'd cheer her on.
Yeah, Mercy got trying to be the martyr or something. I don't know. It's like she's trying to outsmart her, but it's not really working, I think, the way she thinks it should be working.
It's not. And, we kind of learned so Mercy grew up with Bran, the alpha of all alphas, and we were learning some more tricks that she played on him over the years. We learned about the peanut butter in the car however many books ago. Last book, Frostburned, I think.
Yeah.
Now we're learning there was something to do with eggs. We don't know that whole story.
Shoes.
The shoes. Oh my God. So, like, the blue dye is Mercy finally realizing, okay, I can fight petty with petty the way I fought Bran. Like, I can do this. It's fine. We're here. But leading up to that, Mercy was like trying to pretend she was someone she's not. She was trying to pretend that she's a better person, that she's not petty, that she, she's Mercy. She's like, I need to be a responsible adult. I need to just, not fight fire with fire. I need to let her feel safe because she is in danger and I'm a good person. And she has that long talk with Jesse about how she should love and respect her mom because her mom, is in danger. And Adam and Christy were standing outside the door and heard the whole thing. And honestly, that probably pissed Christy off more than anything because she doesn't want Mercy defending her. She wants Mercy gone.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I do agree with what she's telling Jesse, right? That's your mother, right? And Jesse already knows what she's like because throughout this book, she's like, why are you allowing this? Why did you let her do this? Why? She's asking these questions because she know her mother ain't nothing, She's like, I love her, but she is the worst.
Yes.
And I think that Mercy got, bonus points, in my opinion, for saying that. But I would feel that same way. Like, that's your mother. You should love her. You know, right? She loves you. But at that same token, on the flip coin, you're not going to run over me.
Yes.
Me and your mother have a different relationship than you and your mother do. And you don't have to choose sides.
No, you don't have to choose sides. And you shouldn't have to choose sides. It's what you want to do. And Jessie, she's still a teenager, but she's getting older. Yeah. She goes to college in the next few books. And it's her life. It's her choice. And hearing Mercy say that kind of cemented that for Jessie. Okay.
Absolutely.
Bonus points, brownie points.
Bonus points, yes. She's got some stepmom, cred or whatever. So, I mean, all of, even through everything, she's lying. She's basically not bold-faced lying, but has lies of omission through this whole book.
So many. Oh my God, so many lies. From the very beginning. So we start the book opening, Christy calls and says, I have a stalker. I don't know what to do. Please save me. So Adam and the pack jump up and they're like, all right, we got to save her. We're going to save Christy because she used to be ours. And Mercy's like, fuck me. I can't say no to this. And
Mhm.
Mercy even realizes that putting Christy in anybody else's house would just, blame the fires and make everybody hate Mercy instantly. So Christy gets to come stay in their house. And how does she phrase it at the very beginning? She's like, I met this man. He was young and interested in me. He was so handsome, and I couldn't help myself. And then when the truth comes out, he was her friend.
You're just a hoe.
You're just a hoe. He was your friend's lover, and you jumped into bed with him. Like, you pursued him and jumped into bed with him like an hour later. Probably just to prove that you can, because she's done that in the past.
Yeah, basically.
And also, it comes out much, much later. I think it's almost in the hardback. We're over 250 pages into the book. She knew that he was not human, but she never told anybody. She didn't tell Warren when she was describing everything she knew about him. She didn't tell Adam. She didn't tell anybody. But she knew that Juan was not human, even though she kept telling them he was human. Because she saw him cut his hand and then it healed instantly. And that's what scared her, because she hates werewolves, she hates supernatural creatures, and she fled. But she just assumed he was a werewolf and that everything was Adam's fault. And so she starts blaming Adam. And that's when Mercy's like, oh, hell no.
Oh, no, you're not doing this. But you blamed him, and then you didn't even say that you were bragging that your ex is the alpha. Mm-hmm. So you basically brought him here because you were bragging about who your ex is. You didn't warn anybody.
No, she is an idiot on so many different levels. But like this one in particular, if you are fighting a supernatural creature and you come to the werewolves for help, it would be very beneficial to everybody if you said, hey, this guy might not be fully human.
Yes, he might not be fully human, and he probably knows I would come here. So, there's that. Yeah. Sorry.
Even just saying, I think he's a werewolf, that would give Warren more leads to follow, and they could contact more people to be like, hey, have you heard of this werewolf guy? Do you know anything about this or that? But they thought he was strictly human, so they were looking at all the human avenues.
Yeah.
And it made Christy look real fucking bad in front of everybody. Until she started crying, and then they had to pet her head. Like, I'm so horrible. I'm such a terrible mother. Wah, wah.
Everybody just looking at her like, like, okay. But what a ride to figure out who he was, right? Like, so through the investigation and things that come up, we find out that he's like a Tibisena, right? Isn't that right?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but he is a volcano god.
A volcano god who uses like these dogs that were people. He transforms them into dogs as anchors to keep himself in the whatever human body he's using. Lord have mercy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. He, comes and attacks Mercy in her garage. He throws his burning finger at her face. Which she's like,
take your finger off and throw it at me.
She's like, this is now in my nightmares of things that have happened to me. Which is fair. Like, it is very nightmarish.
Yeah. Well, so she kind of got in a fight with that guy, basically. Like, she was coming and she was fighting him when he was human, and then all of a sudden, well, I just know she was doing her best and it was on camera. Yeah. Well, she did kill a dog because she shot the dog. She shot him in the
head and he died instantly.
And turned into a human, in which she thought she was going to jail for. She's like, it was a human, I'm going to jail. He's like, no,
it's on camera. He was a dog about to attack you, and then he magically turned into a human. You're safe.
Yes, she was freaking out. She thought for sure she'd be taken away in handcuffs. But the best thing about that scene is that, she could have run. She could have run, but she decided, like, she made a on purpose decision not to let the wolves see her be weak.
Yes.
She's like, they can see these cameras. I cannot run and hide. I'm going to fight. And she does. And people are impressed. They are impressed.
Well, yeah, Mercy's
by
a
her
fucking
skills.
badass.
Yes. They're like watching it like they're watching it on replay like it's a football play or something.
Yes, at Honey's house. So we can talk about Honey in a minute, but like at Honey's house, the whole pack is there. Honey has the DVDs and she's like, we're just going to keep playing Mercy fighting this man. And we're going to see how she shot him and how she attacked him with a wrench. And he like ate the wrench with his fire stuff. Then Mercy kept going and kept fighting. And everybody's like, holy shit. This is crazy. Mercy's not weak at all. Mercy's probably one of the strongest fighters in the pack. And this really hurt Christy because...
Which I loved. Christy is looking scared and she should be. Like, she can swipe the floor with you if she wanted to.
She wouldn't even have to. She could just, like, knock you out with a single punch.
And to be fair, like, when the police and everybody was kind of looking at those tapes, they're grilling her. The one secret FBI group or whatever, they're like, are you human? You're not human. What are you? Because of how she was moving, her speed and stuff. But she practiced,
like
she
every single
takes,
day. Yeah, she works with her sensei 3 times a week. She works with Adam.
She spars with
probably
Adam
almost every day.
Right. And you're fighting a alpha werewolf, right? And I'm sure he's not going easy on you. You're working for it. So she's able to protect herself a lot better than a lot of people.
Hell yes. Than a lot of werewolves, especially. Like, werewolves aren't weak, but Mercy trains.
Oh, she trains. And that makes sense because Adam actually said, after that last fiasco, I want her to be able to defend herself. And she is, she is able to.
Absolutely.
For a long time.
I mean, as we saw back in like Rivermarked and Frostburned, she can fight monsters and take a beating and still come out swinging. But after Rivermarked, she ended up in a cast and wheelchair and couldn't walk for a couple months. But she knows how to fight.
That was horrible.
It was so bad.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. And that's kind of also what I like about Mercy's character is because she's half human. Yes, she has the ability to really go hard and fight really hard. But when it comes down to it, when you're fighting something supernatural, you're probably going to lose eventually. I mean, even when you win, you lose, right? And she does by being in a cast. She does by having her neck cracked. So, broken. So let's talk about that.
Mercy actually dies at the end of Nightbroken.
Yeah.
In the final battle between her and Juan and his 2, I don't want to call them wolves.
Tibisanus.
One of them, his paw's so big, he whacks Mercy upside the head and breaks her neck. But guess who takes her not quite to the afterlife, but somewhere in between?
Kind of like the in-between. Coyote.
Quasi-father.
Father, not father.
The man who was possessing her father, but wasn't her father because her father was Joe Old Coyote and not the actual Coyote, but he was possessing old Joe at the time.
Yeah.
She has some daddy issues around that, but that's okay. You can't think in a linear line with that. You kind of have to think outside the box.
Yeah, totally.
But he takes Mercy into the in-between and he's like, I gotta save you. I don't want you to die right now. Coyotes, come back. We're hard to kill. So he rescues her.
He heals her.
Yeah.
He heals her because when she came in to that hospital, Samuel saying, she heard him saying, broken neck. There, burns everywhere. Like it sounded like it was like she died.
Yes.
And then Coyote comes in his coyote form and sits next to the bed. And I think that is how he ends up kind of bringing her to that plane, right? And he's like, just, don't talk too much. You don't know what to ask anyway. Just sit here.
Just sit here. We'll relax. We'll be in this cloudy in between space. I'll use my magic to heal you because you're my daughter and I love you. Even though I also try to kill you sometimes because I'm not a good father.
He said, I don't want to break you, though. And that, he doesn't want to do that to her. So he's like, just relax. Let me handle this. And he does. But during that conversation, he's like, oh, he starts to talk about the guy, the Goyota. And he's like, yeah, so, he's not really gone. He's still around, but he'll forget in a few years. Don't worry about it. But, if you want to go visit and find out how he was able to do that, hey, you can let me know. She's like, hey, I'm never going. I'm never going there.
Yeah, no.
He goes, well, maybe Gary will, which we still have to talk about Gary. But they have this whole conversation where she gets a lot of information. And he says to her, interesting choice bringing what's-his-face into the pack. He says, you could have used the walking stick and broke those links, I think.
She's like,
but or maybe it just would have burned up.
Walking stick. I gave the walking stick back to the Fae like I was supposed to.
He's like, did you? Did you though? Okay, never mind. Moving on.
I definitely feel like the walking stick still belongs to Mercy and loves Mercy and will come back to her. But after spending how many months with Coyote, it has changed. He has taught it new tricks. Yes. He has...
It's different.
Done some things to this old magical walking stick, and it's... Even Beauclair was like, this is not the same stick. And Mercy's like, yes, it is. It is the same stick. You need to take the stick away from me.
Let's talk about Beauclair. Okay. So, but first, let's take a quick break. Then we'll come back and talk about him and finish up whatever loose ends we have. So while you guys listen to the commercials, please check out the book review journal. It is available now on Amazon. You'll find the link in the show notes, and we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. So let's jump right back on in. We're going to talk about Beauclair. You got the deets on him.
So if you guys remember, I was trying to read the Alpha and Omega series in chronological order with the Mercy series, and I'm a little off. So Fair Game is the third Alpha and Omega book. It takes place before Frostburn, but it's all about Beauclair. So just very quick summary. There is a serial killer out on the loose, killing Fae, half-Fae, werewolves. It's not a good look. He's been doing this for decades. So Anna and Charles go out, save the day, but then they decide to let the humans and the American legal justice system do their fair share part of this. And so even though, Beauclair's daughter, his half-Fae human daughter, was abducted by the serial killer, taken, raped multiple times, had nasty, nasty scars carved into her skin. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the ending with the legal justice system, the humans, after a very long, drawn-out court case, seeing the victims, seeing all of this stuff, say that the serial killer is completely innocent and that there is nothing, no jail time, nothing. He is 100% innocent.
Yeah.
Which, tracks for America right now. We'll not have that conversation, definitely. But that tracks. So Beauclair, because his daughter was, actually hurt, and this person admitted to doing it in the court, but, they found him innocent. He is a Grey Lord, so he and I think like 50-something Grey Lords appear on the steps of the court. He makes this grand speech. He takes out his sword and decapitates the serial killer right there, and then says, all right, all the Fae are disappearing because, you know, you guys don't care about us. We don't care about you. We are now warring nations. We're no longer working together. We're no longer allies. We're no longer friends. And so Mercy mentions that in Frostburned because all of the Fae have gone. Z is gone. That is why Z and Tad are locked away in the reservation and nobody can find the reservations. So that's who Beauclair is. And then he shows up looking for this walking stick.
Yes, he shows up in the most rude way possible.
Yes.
In the middle of the night, he shows up and puts a spell on everybody except Mercy. He's knocking at the door like, hey! She's like, who are you? And of course, she calls him by his old name. She knows what his original name is, or his, you know, he's used it before. They come in and they talk, and he's like, bottom line is, hey, I need that walking stick back. She's like, dude, I don't have it. And he's like, where is it? she tells this roundabout story. She kind of explains that it's changed, the things that it's done. And then she's like, yeah, Coyote has it. And he's
like, excuse me, what?
No. And we find out, you know, okay, not good. And she's like, okay, I'll try to get it back. He's like, yeah, you got a week to get it back, or I'll be back. And she's like, dude, I will try. I cannot promise. But, you know, he's laid down the law. He's like, I'm leaving. He leaves. So she's like, oh, okay. So on top of everything, I got to contact Coyote and get this stupid walking stick
and
back.
Deal with Christy and try and find her stalker.
And
now fight the supernatural man who is, you know, stalking Christy and wants to kill me. And we need to find Coyote.
Yes.
Mercy doesn't.
A lot.
She doesn't do easy. Everything falls on her all at once.
Oh, always. But she does get the walking stick back. But along the way, in her pursuit of contacting Coyote, she meets Gary, her half brother. Like, literally, she is the closest relation that of any of Coyote's quote unquote kids.
Because he was also kind of Gary's father. I don't know if it was as roundabout, but yes.
It was more direct, you know, than the others, you know, like that's how they are closest. They are half siblings, really. And poor Gary. Now, Coyote plays a lot of tricks on him, and he is in jail because Coyote he's in jail.
That story had me laughing, even though like I felt bad for him. It was hilarious.
I know, and it's like that's how Coyote works. Like, it's all jokes, it's all fun and games. Yeah, and then he turns around and he's like, what I needed you to be here. Did you not think that maybe my children needed to work together to live? I'm like, oh my god. No, Gary doesn't think that him sitting in jail is a funny thing or a cool thing. Like, couldn't you just tell him to go there?
No, he has to make sure, because if Coyote said go to Washington State, Gary would go to Washington, D.C. Or he would fly to France, or he would just run in the opposite direction. Like, he would not do what Coyote wanted him to do.
No, because he treated him so bad for years. Like, he has had a horrible interaction with him over the years. And he pretty much says, I hate him. I hate him. And Mercy's like, okay. You know, she hasn't had the level of trickery that Gary has.
She's only known Coyote for a few months, less than a year. Not since their honeymoon, which was last July, right? And so, you know, Coyote threw her in the river to find the river monster. But he also helped her defeat the river monster. And now, again, he's not throwing her in jail, but he's, you know, kind of throwing her to the wolves and like, here, this is what you're fighting. Let me help you. Let me save your life after your neck is broken, because I do love you. But like, I think at some point he might try to put Mercy in jail, and that's just not going to end well for him because she's going to come after him.
He's like a walking contradiction, right? So you never know what you're going to get. If he's trying to help, is he going to hurt you to help you? That's how he works, you know? He can't just help. He hurts as well. And it's always twofold. So Gary ends up, you know, he has visions. So he is also a walker. He can change into a coyote. But he also has visions that Mercy doesn't have. So he sees like kind of small things and then big things. So because of that, after, you know, they have this visit, he breaks out of jail. He's like, I'm out.
Peace, bitches.
Yeah, he just literally breaks out of jail and he's running like in a coyote form, and he just finds his way to her, you know, through Kyle and Warren of all people. But, you know, he's there to help, honestly, and he likes her. They like each other. Which is good.
They do. For siblings, they get along pretty well right away.
I know they do. You know, and of course, Coyote is never. It's never easy. So, like, he pretty much takes them. At first, what I think is a dream is not a dream. They're like literally being walked. What's the word? Like they walk out of dream walk, but they actually physically were there.
So. Because I feel like it was kind of his magic. Not quite the in-between that Mercy goes to later, but something similar to that. Because Gary was leaving, you know, he's an ex-convict. He knows Kyle's a lawyer. He kind of has an interest in Honey, but her dead husband Peter's ghost is still around, and it's so sad.
Following her everywhere.
So Gary is like, all right, I'm just going to sneak out and leave in the middle of the night. And he goes and he walks, and he says he walked for like 2 hours before he realized he was just like walking in circles down the same road because Coyote wouldn't let him leave. So he sat down in the middle of the road and waited. And then, you know, Mercy gets up to get some water. She sees Coyote outside. She goes and talks to him. And then he kind of takes her to that same place too. And they go up a hill, which isn't like a normal hill. So again, I thought it was like that kind of like magical in between where he's taking them to different places through this kind of space-time continuum magic land.
Yeah, it's kind of like he must have folded time or something, like how you fold space and you just walk through it. That's how I visualized it, because when they came back, they were right back in front of the house.
Running at full speed, hitting Adam because he's there waiting for her, but he couldn't tell where she was coming from because she wasn't like in this space-time continuum.
Yeah, so that's what made me think like walking through a door, because Adam said, wait, I could smell your scent until I got to here and it was just gone. So that's like, okay, you just walk through and you're someplace else. It's very crazy, very loopy, but I'm down for it. So they pretty much got to see where Goyota was hanging out, so they knew where to go. And of course, okay, look. We even got a Stefan appearance. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about that shit. Because, okay, I remember a couple books back, something happened where Stefan helped Mercy. And I was like, wait, when did they?
That was book 13. And I had to have this thought too.
Ahead.
So that is, we, jumped ahead. We just read book 4 when they bonded and then it broke. And we're like, okay, it's broken. But then we read book 13 and they're like, wait a second.
And they were clearly bonded.
Here. And both you and I were like, when did the second bond happen?
Yes.
Like, we don't remember a second bond happening.
No, because there wasn't a second bond. We find out that it was never broken in the first place. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that completely.
I did too. Again, like we talked about, we're like, when was the second bond? I don't remember. It was never a second bond. It was still the first bond. And there was a hint of it back in Frostburned, the book right before this, when she was fighting against Frost and Stefan like spoke into her head. And she's like, what was that? But I'm too busy fighting for my life to really think about it. And then, he talks in Mercy's head again here. And she's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
And it was all a setup because Wolf wanted to let her know what was going on, because Marsilia wanted Stefan back and he wouldn't join because he had,
Bond.
that link with Mercy, and he did not want to take a chance and have Marsilia be able to control her or anything. So it was this whole like side thing that got
and the worst part
thrown in here.
The worst part is that Adam knew. Adam knew the bond was still intact. He said that he occasionally smelled him on her, but he didn't say anything.
And I don't know if I would say he knew with 100%, like with certainty, but I think he knew something was off. Like something is not right, but I don't have proof. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone is saying it's broken and you can still tell that still should have been investigated, right? He should have shared that with Mercy. Like, hey, I know he said this,
but hear what my instincts are saying. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm smelling.
Right. So she was hella mad, and I don't blame her. Like, how dare you? That is, but of course she forgives him. That's her friend. She's like, I accepted it willingly before. I do it again.
I mean, yes, like Mercy needed the bond with him to fight the bond with the monster, the vampire controlling all of Portland.
Yeah, it was that guy.
I don't remember what city it was, but he was a very big, very scary vampire monster who wanted to lock her in a cage and eat her for a century so he could gain her abilities. I would make the bond with Stefan again, 100%. But the fact that nobody's telling her that the bond still exists, Adam and Stefan, like, no, she thought she was safe. She's not.
It's a mess. I'm like, oh my God. And then, of course, Adam says, well, he's in love with you, right?
Which we've known since book 2.
We've known, but Mercy is so hard-headed. I think she knows too, but she just refuses to go there. Right.
So she kind of realized it in book 2, and then book 3, she's like, nope. I have to deal with Sam and Adam. I'm not thinking about you at all. And then sometimes Sue does stuff and she's like, I see you, but I just don't want to think about it. So I'm not going to.
Yeah. I mean, and I kind of understand that because, for example, if you know someone's in love with you, what are you going to say or do? If you're not interested, right? You can't do anything about it. It's better if you don't want to ruin your friendship. What do? You just ignore it, right? Isn't that what you do? So I'm not mad at her about it, but it's like, well, now it's like in your face. Now
you can't ignore it. Now it's here. So what are you going to do? What are you going to...
She's going to be like, I'm going to avoid Stefan. That's what I'm going to do.
And that's what she will do until she can't avoid him anymore.
Yeah. Which, of course, that bond comes in handy in the end. Goyota is there with the TV at the end. They're fighting, and Daryl and his what's
Ariel?
Oh, gosh, why her name? Ariella are fighting, and apparently it's a vision to see them fight together. It's so beautiful. I'm like, So they're fighting, but right before that, he's coming. What do we do with these people? He shows up and he whisks away
everybody. Jesse, Christy,
everybody.
I think there are a couple other people who left too.
Yeah, and he transports them in his vampire way, but he's like, if I do this, he carried 4 people, I think. He said after that last person, I'll be down for the count. I don't have
Mercy's like,
power
good,
to come back.
Get these people to safety. Get Jesse to safety. Get Christy, even though, we've jokingly said, give Christy back to Juan. Give her to the Volcano Lord and just, let it be.
I mean, God forbid she has to, actually follow through with the consequence of what she's done.
The consequences of her own actions. I mean, yes. Okay, so he's a supernatural god killing people, and nobody should have to deal with that. But Christy should have to take some accountability for some of her actions. More so.
And all she got was blue hair. Get out of here. That's all that happened to you. Shut
Mercy's
it, girl.
garage was destroyed. Her body was broken. Again.
Right.
And Christy gets to walk away with nothing and all the pack just loving her.
I know, although Christy was very angry. She goes, everyone thinks you shit rainbows. Or something she said to her. It's not fair. I'm like, oh, get out of here. But, like we were saying, that, so Stefan came to the rescue, of course, and in his own way, but that didn't help anything. I mean, it helped the humans from being killed, but that fight still happened, and Mercy was still injured. And of course, she has a team of people there ready to rescue and save her and heal her. You live to fight another day.
Thank goodness, because if the series ended right here, I would be very sad.
So we talked about the walking stick not being gone. It's not gone. So the very, very last scene, she wakes up, Adam's like all happy and stuff. And he's like, I'll go get some food. She's like, oh, I got to use the restroom. I don't need help. I'm not doing that again. So she gets up, trips, and then the walking stick is right there for her to grab.
Yes.
Saves her butt again.
This time she's not tripping on the stick, which is normally how it appears.
Yes.
This time it's helping her because it loves her and it doesn't want to leave her.
Yes. And she wobbles, falls. The walking stick, is in her hand. And she goes, well, hello. I didn't expect to see you here. The very last line. I'm like, it's
always back.
back.
It's never gone for long.
No. And Coyote said, well, did you? When she said, oh, I gave it to Beauclair. He's like, well, did you?
I thought that was more of him just being like, wait, why would you give it away? I gave it to you to fight now instead of like give it back to the Fae. But yes, this walking stick
I see it
always
the other
comes
way.
back to her.
Right. Like, how could you give something away that is yours? That's how I took it. Like, that walking stick is stuck to you. So, did you really give it away?
She's tried many, many times to give it away, and it always comes back.
It always comes back. Now, it looks different, it acts different, and it still, though, comes right back to her when she needs it the absolute most.
Yes, it does.
Oh, man, this book was so good. So many things. I love it. I love it.
I very, very quickly want to say, like, I know Christy was stirring up shit, but I feel like we got to see Honey and Daryl really love and stand up for Mercy more than they've ever done in any other book. Like, she and Honey kind of have that love-hate relationship, but Honey is 100% Team Mercy. She hates Christy.
Oh, yeah, they bonded at some point. Yeah, she bonded with her, and she defends her. She's laughing at Christy and everything.
And
like,
Honey was the one who's like, let's play the video of Mercy kicking this monster's ass. Let's hype up Mercy because we love Mercy. And we never really got to see Honey like love on Mercy like that before. And even Daryl.
Yes.
He's been more indifferent than not towards Mercy in the first 7 books of this series. It's not that he hates her. It's just that he like hasn't really fully accepted her, I feel like. But this time, like especially at the very end when it's the two of them fighting and Mercy's like, Daryl, if it looks like it's going sideways, you get out of here. And he's like, no, my wolf would not let me leave you. I am not leaving you. We are fighting together to the end. And like once he realizes what Christy is doing, manipulating everybody, he's like, no, I want Mercy. I want Mercy to manipulate me because Mercy's nicer about it.
Yeah. At least, and she admits when she's doing it.
She tells like, you, I'm manipulating you into doing this.
and you're going to do it. Thank you.
And then you do it with a smile on your face because Mercy is right. But yeah, no, like there's a lot of the pack that hates Mercy and loves Christy, and that's shown a lot. But I feel like we really got to see, and even Ben, for a moment, Ben doesn't like Christy at all. He kind of stands up for Mercy a couple times too. And Mercy did not antagonize or bitch about Ben at all in this book. Thank God.
She didn't.
I feel like we're over that hump. We're good with Ben now.
And I think there were 2 other things I think that kind of pushed the pack along as a whole to be more on Mercy's side in general. So like after that whole all the truth comes out about Christy, I think it was after, I might have my timing wrong, but like it's brought up that Christy was never a pack member.
Never.
Christy was never my mate. Okay? Never. So let's not get that twisted. She and Mercy are in completely different roles and positions. Understand that. And then after Mercy brings Hoel into the pack when he was a Tivasena,
she used magic.
She brought him into a pack. She had the power to bring him into this pack. You cannot deny her anymore. She brought someone in here.
She is the alpha mate.
Yes.
She has pack magic. Everybody can feel her in the pack bonds.
Yes.
She can feel them. You know, she was devastated in the last book when she felt Peter die.
I know.
Like, she is part of the pack.
Yes, but now that she actually has initiated someone in, there's nothing left for you to deny about her.
Not at all. No. She's not a wolf, but she is part of this wolf pack.
Yes. And you all will freaking like it.
Or else. You'll accept it or else.
Because they've seen this book, you've learned, number one, she's not a liability. She can take care of herself.
And she can take care of the pack too.
And she can take care of the pack, which she did last time where she healed all of you guys basically.
With its silver pulling?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
So she's so far deep in this pack. Like, they all better get over it. Everybody, Mary Jo, Arielle, just get over it.
Unfortunately, we know that's not going to happen just yet because Christy doesn't give up that easily.
No.
And she is the worst villain we will ever meet in this series.
I know. And I think Mary Jo is a pretty close, like, second or third place. I don't know. I just really don't like her.
Mary Jo is a bitch. I'm sorry. But we'll talk about her later because she comes up more in the late book. But yeah.
It's never ending. It never ends. I feel bad for my girl Mercy. Like, she does all the things, helps everybody, and she's still be getting the short end of the stick. Like, well, at least she has Adam. There's that.
But at least she has Adam. And she can do him as loudly as she wants in front of everybody.
Look, I'll be
or even
loud.
In the house and all the wolves will hear.
I don't care where I am. I'll be loud and rowdy. Y'all gonna be so sick of me. You're gonna run. I can't even help it. That's what's happening.
That's perfect, though. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we could talk about these books for hours.
For hours and hours.
We're coming up on our hour, so I think we should stop there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think that covers everything.
All right, that was a really fun time. Now, I don't think we'll be back next week with the next book. The next book is Fire Touched, but we won't be doing it next week, right?
Right.
We'll be doing a different book on the live, and I don't know. We'll sort out when Fire Touch will air. You guys make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit the like button on this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to follow us. Check us out on YouTube and do live reading sprints with us. And we'll see you next time. All right?
Bye, everybody.
Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.